Hello and welcome to the next edition of the BriefingsDirect Voice of Innovation podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on how services and support for enterprise IT has entered a new era. General digital business transformation and managing the new normal around the COVID-19 pandemic have hugely impacted how businesses and IT operate. Faced with mounting complexity, rapid change, and strident budgets, IT operational services must be smarter and more efficient than ever. Stay with us now as we examine how Hewlett Packard Enterprise PointNeck Services has reinvented the experience of IT support to increasingly rely on automation, analytics, and agility. Here to share the PointNeck's vision for the future of IT operational services are our guests. We're here with Jerry Nolan, Director of Portfolio Product Management, Operational Service Portfolio at HPE PointNeck Services. Welcome, Jerry.
Hi, Dana. Thank you for having us today.
And we're also here with Ronaldo Pinto, Director of Portfolio Product Management, Operational Service Portfolio at HPE PointNeck Services. Welcome, Ronaldo.
Thanks, Dana. It's a pleasure to be here.
Jerry, let me start with you. Is it fair to say that IT has never had a more integral part of nearly all businesses, and that therefore the support of IT has never been more critical?
I think we've never seen a time like this, Dana. I mean, pretty much every aspect of our life has now moved to digital. It was already moving that way, but in my own house, I think everyone here is spending hours per day in various collaboration platforms, going through various digital interactions, and we're seeing that in our business as well. So whether you're ordering a pizza or booking time at your gym or getting your morning coffee, I mean, pretty much your life has changed forever. We see that dramatically impacting the IT space and the customers we deal with. So yes, it's a unique time, never seen it before, and we believe things will never be the same again.
And so we're reliant really on technology for commerce, healthcare, finance, all across many of these scientific activities to combat the pandemic, not to mention more remote education, more remote work, basically every facet of our modern life. So consequently, how IT enterprises get service and support is entering a new phase, a new era. So explain about this moving towards a more digital environment and why that actually gives more tools, more opportunity to the people who are delivering operational services, Jerry.
So I think we know that the IT landscape is very dynamic, and there's an expanding array of technology choices out there, which with that brings more complexity. And of course, the move to cloud and edge introduces all sorts of new requirements from an IT ops point of view. You know, a simple example would be a recent retail customer that I just met with, and they don't even have a four walls data center anymore. So most of their IT is distributed throughout their retail stores. Another customer I just met, a large telco, they're installing servers, edge related servers on the side of electricity pylons out on the side of mountains and in very remote areas. So these types of use cases bring very different operational processes and approaches and skills. And then, of course, we get hit with COVID-19, and that brings a whole new set of challenges with locking down of IT environments, huge increase in remote workforce, creating all sorts of problems with network capacity and performance, security challenges, and so on. So as a result, we're seeing customers needing more help than ever while they try and maintain the business and also try to find time to plan and evolve for the medium to longer term. They really need solutions both for today to help in this unique lockdown mode, but also trying to accelerate transformation efforts to move more to a digitally enabled customer experience.
And so, Ronaldo, obviously this is more than just traditional help desk and telephone support. Where does the operational experience of changing even the culture around support kick in? How do we get to a new experience?
Yeah, absolutely, Dana. So you said something important, right? Because many people equate the traditional support to phone support, and today it needs to be much more than that. So as Jerry described, so we are moving towards a very distributed, remote, low-touch to no-touch world, right? And COVID, the pandemic, just accelerated that. So for you to achieve such a operational state, it does depend on a increasing number of tools and technologies. So you have much more variables today than what you had in the past, just to control and maintain your performance. So it's extremely important to arm those people that provide technical supports with some of the latest AI tools and digital infrastructure so that they continue to be effective in the work that they do.
Jerry, do you think that the whole pandemic and the emphasis now on remote services and end-to-end perhaps has accelerated people's willingness to delve into some of the newer technologies around automation, artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, and AI ops? Are people more open to that? I think there may have been some foot dragging only up till a few months ago.
No question, Dana. I mean, like I said, consider any great customer experience that you have today, from dealing with your mobile phone provider to, in my case recently, my utility company. The great experiences offer a whole variety of ways to access the information and help that you need on a 24/7 basis. And typically this will involve a whole range of different elements, from portal or an app, some type of a central hub in terms of how you engage, all the way through getting a more personalized dashboard of information and help. And then those great experiences also have different engagement options, from access to live people who can answer questions and give you guidance and sort of offer you help to solve issues. But also that central hub would provide a wealth of helpful, useful information and be AI enabled and provide predictive alerts and dashboards. And it's really, those companies that only provide a single channel, for example, the utility company I had to call yesterday, who shall remain nameless, kept me on hold for 45 minutes and I hung up. I had to go to a conference call, but I tried their website. They had multiple websites, none of which I could figure out. I sent an email. I'm still waiting for a response. So the great experiences have multiple elements to them. They have great people that you can talk to. You have multiple ways of getting to those people. They have a great app or website with all sorts of information and help available to you. I think that's the way of the future. And those companies that are successful and have already started down that path are seeing great success. Those that have not are really struggling in this, especially in this climate, where not only is there much more need to go digital, but also the pressure on revenue coming in limits the investment dollars available to move in that direction if you haven't already done so. So yeah, a multitude of different challenges here, which we're dealing with.
Yeah, Jerry, it's amazing when you start dealing with companies how you can recognize almost instantly the ones that have invested in digital business transformation and are able to do a lot of different things now under duress, and those that didn't. It's rather stark. But Ronaldo, dealing with these complexities isn't just a technology issue. Oftentimes it's more of a multi-vendor aspect, a larger ecosystem, and pointing fingers isn't going to help if you're in a tight, constrained situation, a crisis situation. So how does the new operational experience include the ability to bring in many vendors and even so provide a seamless experience back to that customer?
HPE has historically collaborated. So if you look at our customers today, many of our customers, they either choose to have best of breed type of environments, or as we described, right? So there's many new emerging tools that companies leverage to make those environments more efficient, right? So we have several startups. So it's extremely important for us to really serve our customers to be able to collaborate seamlessly with those companies, right? So we have done that in the past, and we are extending the operational capabilities, the tools that we have today, to also understand performance, integration between our products and third-party products so that we can streamline that collaboration.
And of course, that has to extend across a hybrid environment, a IT hybrid environment from edge to cloud. So multi-cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Is that multi-vendor and multi-architecture something that you're encountering a lot?
If you don't mind, Ronaldo,
yes.
Something we see today, Dana, is that pretty much every customer has a multi-vendor IT landscape, and they're at various phases of maturity in terms of they're dealing with legacy environments, they're dealing with new IT on-prem technologies, they're trying to deploy cloud, or they may be trying to look at moving to cloud. So there's a whole plethora of use cases that we see globally with our customers. And the classic issue, as you pointed out, is when there's a problem, the finger pointing or the blame game starts, and even trying to triage and isolate problems in these types of environments can be a problem, let alone having the expertise to fix the issue, whether it's in the hardware, software layer, somebody else's platform, it's quite difficult. So, and most vendors, of course, have different SLAs, different role names, different processes, different contractual and pricing structures. So the whole engagement model, even the vocabulary they use, can be quite different, ourselves included, by the way. So the more vendors that you have to work with, the more dimensions that you have to manage. And of course, then COVID-19 hits, and now customers working with multiple vendors have to rely on how all those vendors are reacting to this current climate. And of course, we're not all reacting in a consistent fashion. So the more vendors you have, the more work and time it's going to take and the more cost involved. So we call it the power of one, and customers see huge value in working with a partner who can provide that single point of contact, that single throat to choke or hand to shake, really a single focal point for dealing with issues. You have a single contract, a single invoice, and a single team to work with. So saves a lot of time, saves a lot of money. And organizations that are already in that position, they're really seeing significant benefits. And in fact, we see that in our business because our multi-vendor business is growing very, very well. And we see that moving into the future as companies try to focus more on their core business, whatever that might be, and sort of let IT take care of itself. Those are just some additional thoughts on the multi-vendor space.
And just to complement, so your question, Dana, on hybrid environments, I would also say that's not only hybrid, right? So, but it's edge to cloud and to the data center. So I can give you two examples, right? So we do have customers that are large department stores that will have the technology in each one of those stores. And we support not only the edge, right? So in those stores, but all the way to their data center. And another classic example of a hybrid environment is data management, where you typically have a primary storage, you have a secondary storage, and then you have your archiving strategy, all of that managed by a multitude of backup and data movement software. So the customer really should not be worried about what is, it's looking at component by component of that one single end-to-end solution. So we help customers abstract from that by supporting the end-to-end data environment and collaborating with those third-party software vendors or platform vendors that will inevitably be part of the solution.
Now, Jerry, a little earlier, you mentioned in your own experience with a utility recently that you were looking for a multi-channel opportunity to engage with them. How does the IT operational services era as an experience need to be inclusive of such things as everything from search to chat to forums to full HD video interactions? Tell me a little bit about why this needs to be all-inclusive in terms of not just the technology problems, but the solutions and approaches.
Yeah, it's an excellent question, Dana. And as I mentioned, I mean, an alternative example that I could give is my bank. I have a couple of different banks that I work with, but one in particular invested early in integrating digital. They didn't replace their brick and mortar model, so they still have lots of branches, lots of very high-tech ATMs that allow all different types of self-serve. But they've also now got a really cool app and website, which they've had for a number of years. And this multi-channel way of dealing with them, they didn't introduce digital as a way of closing down their branches. They keep all of those options available because different people like to integrate and work with their service providers in different ways. And we see that in IT. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the key elements to delivering a successful, at least in the IT space, an AI-enabled experience include things like having lots of expertise and knowledge available across the IT environment, not just on a single set of products. Of course, a digital platform which provides sort of a personalized view, things like dashboards of what's in my environment, ongoing alerts and predictions, maybe a capacity is running out, or maybe costing, maybe I've got some ways of optimizing my costs, some insights around maybe some updates to my software or my licenses, or some systems that might be running to the end of their support life. So there's all sorts of information that should be available to me in a personalized way. And then in terms of accessing experts, it's the old model to get on the phone like I was yesterday for 45 minutes talking to somebody. In my case, I wasn't successful. But customers, in some cases, they like to deal with the experts through a chat window. Others like to maybe watch videos. So we have an extensive video library of experts where you can pick and choose and listen to some tips and techniques about how to deal with certain topics. Moderated forums. Customers actually like sharing their experiences with each other. And then our experts get involved and you sort of mix and match in with partners and end customers. And you get this very rich dialogue that goes on around particular topics, best practices, ideas, or they could be problems that somebody else has solved. And then, of course, AI is really at the heart of all of this because it's constantly learning. It's like a self-propelling mechanism that just gets better over time. The more people come on board, the more knowledge it gains, the more questions they get asked, the more answers that are provided. The whole thing just gets better and better over time. And it's really key, of course, to have that portfolio as well of information and help all the way through from helping customers strategize if they have a strategy, make it work better. If they don't have a strategy and they need help building one, we can help them do that all the way through to designing, implementing those solutions, and then the ongoing support, which is where Ronaldo and I spend most of our life. But it's important as a vendor or as a partner to be able to offer customers help across the value chain or across the life cycle, depending on where they need that help.
All right, Ronaldo, let's dig a little more deeply into the specifics of the new HPE PointNeck Services operational services approach, modernizing operations for the future of IT, if you will. Tell us a little bit about how that happens. Break it down for me a little bit. What does it include?
We are doing all this modernization, Dana, with obviously the customer in mind, right? So what is really, really important for us is not only accomplishing something, but how you accomplish. So in the end of any interaction, the customer needs to feel that their time was used effectively. So that HPE showed it through concern with the customer success and basically being feeling positive in the end of the interaction. So we are fully integrating. So Jerry mentioned a couple of times all the AI tools and the alerts. So we are integrating all the sensors, the telemetry that we get from our products in the field, all the way up to our operational processes in the back end, so that customers can accomplish whatever they need to accomplish with us in their own terms, right? So, for example, if there's an alert in a product that couldn't even be in a product, but as I said, we need to expand that. Let's say that there's a performance degradation in a product. So we do provide tools to dig deeper and understand, hey, maybe it's a component in the infrastructure that needs to be updated or replaced, right? So we are integrating all of that with our back-end operational processes so that we should even detect that before the customer does, and we should just notify the customer that a action needs to be performed, and then if needed, we dispatch the product. If the customer needs someone at the site to do the replacement, no problem. I mean, the customer can schedule that visit easily in a web interface, and we're going to show up in the window that the customer chooses. So it's basically offering the customer, as Jerry mentioned, multiple channels and multiple ways to interact for customers that prefer a remote to automated web interface or the personal touch of a support engineer. But it should be in the customer's own terms.
Now, I've seen in some of the release information and information you provide to analysts like myself, this concept of a digital customer platform. Can you flesh that out for me a little bit, Jerry? What do y'all mean by a digital customer platform when it comes to operational services?
Well, it's really all of the things that Ronaldo just mentioned coming together in a single place. I mean, going back to my bank example, or think of your credit card where, you typically have a single place that you go from a digital point of view. It's either an app and or a website, and that provides you all of this personalized information that's honed to your specific needs and your specific use case. So for us, from a digital point of view and from a customer engagement platform, we want to provide a single place that regardless of your use case, whether you are warranty level customer or you're maybe a consumption customer buying your IT on a pay-as-you-go basis, all of the help you need, all of the information, dashboards, all of the ways of engaging with us as a partner, it's all through a single sort of view or a single portal. And that's what we really talk about when we say the digital platform. That's really what we're talking about, is that central place that brings it all to life for you as a customer.
And why, with services and support, is having that single consumption-based model approach important? How has that changed the game, and how is HPE and PointNeck Services leveraging that?
I would say, Dana, that it's in the same idea, right, intent, to provide customers the option to consume IT and to use IT in their own terms, right? So HPE pioneered the hybrid IT consumption model. So behind that, obviously is Pointnext, is all the services that we provide, whether the customer chooses to consume on as a service basis, essentially consuming an outcome, or if the customer wanted to consume on a traditional way, where the customer takes more ownership of the underlying infrastructure. The work that we do to automate those more transactional, repeatable tasks, right? And really help the customer focus on innovation and meeting their business objectives through IT. So that is going to be consistent across all the two consumption models.
I'd say also, Dana, what's important to recognize here is as a customer, you want choice, and choice is good. So if the only option you have is, for example, a public cloud solution, then guess what? I mean, every problem you as a customer have, then that public cloud provider has one toolbox. It's a public cloud solution. I've just been speaking with a large insurance company, and they are moving towards a cloud-first strategy, which their board decided they need to go on a cloud-first strategy. So everything in their mind needs to move to the cloud. And it's interesting because they decided the way they're going to partner to get that done is they partner directly with a public cloud vendor. And guess what? Every problem, every workload in that organization is now directed towards moving to public cloud, where in fact, that may not be the best outcome for the customer. To Ronaldo's point, you really want to be looking and assessing all of your workloads and deciding where is the best placement of that workload. Certain work will get done better, more cost effectively, and for all sorts of security, network latency, data regulatory issues, you might want to do that work behind your firewall, inside your network. So I think having multiple different choices that Ronaldo pointed out, you can do on-premise, you can do CapEx, you can do as a service. It's important that your partner is able to offer you those choices. And we, HPE, as Ronaldo said, pioneered the as a service as a sort of an add-on to our current model that we already had in place. So our GreenLake offering is what it's called, and it allows you to buy and consume all of your IT on a pay-as-you-go basis. We just send you a monthly bill for whatever IT you've used, and everything is included in that bill. All your hardware, software, and all of the services, including support. And you really don't need to worry about it, to Ronaldo's point. You care about the outcome. You just want the IT to take care of itself, and you get your bill, and then you can align that cost with the revenue coming in. As the revenue goes up, you're using more IT, you pay more. Revenue goes down, you're using less IT, you pay less. Fairly simple, but very powerful and very popular.
Yeah, I know in the past I've heard so many complaints about people with those gotcha bills and maintenance add-ons and complex licensing. So this is something that's been an ongoing issue for decades. Looking to some examples of where we're able to bring this experience using new technology and across those multiple channels, I wonder, is there any instance where, particularly now with the COVID-19 and so many people working remotely, where you can explain an instance of bringing the best minds in the solution side to wherever the problem is, using maybe even virtual reality or augmented reality and some of the high definition multimedia capabilities? Is there a sort of a poster child example of bringing the best mind wherever it might be in the world to a problem and helping that individual or group work through that using a full experience?
I can take a stab at that, Ronaldo, and you can add to it with, I'm sure, plenty of other examples. But one that jumps to mind is it soon sounds like a very simplistic use case, but it's very apparent in today's climate with the IT lockdown situation. So we, inside of HPE, we use actually multiple different collaboration environments, but we actually own our own collaboration platform. It's called HPE My Room. And we've launched a feature in that collaboration platform called Visual Remote Guidance, which allows us to be collaborating like we are here in this platform. But we can turn on the smart device on the customer side, and they can enable through the camera to actually see the IT situation that they're dealing with. It might be an installation of some hardware. It could be resolving some technical problem. There's a variety of different use cases that we're seeing. And of course, when the system is causing a problem and the company has locked down their entire IT, they don't want to see engineers coming in from either HPE or one of our partners. So this solution immediately started to become very, very useful in helping customers, because now we have our remote experts. We have thousands of experts sitting in various locations around the world, and now they can instantly connect with that customer. They can sort of be the hands and eyes working with the customer, and then the customer can perform the action, but they can be guided all the way through the process by the remote HPE expert. And that's using a very well-proven sort of digital collaboration platform that we've had for many years. And just introducing that one new additional feature has helped tremendously. Many customers were sort of struggling with, how do I install this complex solution? Because I need to get it done, because I've got all this new capacity I've got to deal with, all these remote workers, but I don't have the skills and I don't want to bring anybody in from outside. All of a sudden, they can take advantage of all of our remote experts and get the work done. And our experts can sort of guide them through step by step, test the whole thing. And it's proving to be very, very effective. It's used extensively now in all geos around the world. All of our agents have this on their desktop, and they can initiate that with any customer in any conversation. So it's pretty powerful. It's just one example, though.
Yeah, so you have social isolation, but you have intense technology collaboration at the same time. Okay, Ronaldo, I know HPE InfoSight and automation have gone a long way into helping organizations get in front of maintenance or issues to be proactive and prescriptive when it comes to things. Can you flesh out any examples of where the combination of automation and artificial intelligence, AI ops, maybe HPE InfoSight have come together in a way that helps people get past a problem before it gets out of hand?
Yeah, absolutely. And InfoSight, when I mentioned a couple minutes ago, right, that we are integrating all the telemetry that we get, from the sensors in our technology with our back-end operational processes, that is InfoSight. InfoSight is a very powerful, as you mentioned, Dana, artificial intelligence, machine learning tool that is essentially collecting sensors, more than 100 data points from our product every few seconds. And then all that data is processed in the back end, informed by trends that we see in our install base and knowledge from our product experts and data scientists, right? So as I said, that allows us to get in front of situations that could result, for example, in outages in the environment. So, for example, a node that, for example, it's a virtual storage that could be getting close to capacity, right? That could lead to storages devices going offline. So we can get ahead of that and fix the problem for the customer before it gets to a business degradation situation. And as I said, we are expanding the InfoSight capabilities on a daily basis through the HPE portfolio and also to other workloads, to a point that we should be able to identify, based on the telemetry of the products, what workload the customer is running and help the customer better utilize all those underlying resources in the context of a specific workload, or even identify an improvement opportunity in the underlying infrastructure to improve the performance of that workload.
Right. So it's not really problem solving as much as it is a drive for continual IT improvement and refinement and optimization, which is a lot different than a break fix mentality. Maybe Jerry and Ronaldo, both of you, as we sign off, can paint a little bit of a picture for the future. How will the whole concept of operational services shift, in your opinion, from break fix to more of this optimization and continuous improvement?
I think you just touched on probably the most important point, Dana. Data centers today, right, and technology today, they are increasingly redundant and resilient. So really, break fix is becoming table stakes very quickly. So the metaphor that I use many times is airlines, right? So in the past, security or safety of the airline was something very important. Today is basically table stakes. So you assume that the airline operates in the highest standards of safety. So with break fix is the same. So what HPE is doing is to automate all that break fix operation to really help customers focus on what adds the most value to their business, which is delivering the business outcomes based on the technology and innovating. I mean, the pace of innovation in this business is unprecedented, both in terms of tools and technologies available out there to operate your environment, as well as time to market of the digital applications that are the revenue generators for our customers.
Jerry, anything to offer more on that in terms of this vision of an optimization drive rather than a maintenance drive?
Totally. I mean, it's really all about trying to stay ahead of the business requirements and really trying to paint that picture. Last night, Ronaldo and I were speaking with a customer with a global footprint. They happen to be in a pretty good state, but it was interesting talking to him about, we were trying to figure out what would desired state look like. So we're trying to work with customers as we innovate and try and build better service capabilities. We're trying to find out from our customers, what is their ideal state? Because it's really all about delivering that customer experience that maps to each customer's use case. And every customer is different. I just met with a casino who are going through, well, actually at the moment, they're in a bit of a tough space, but they were acquiring other casinos, opening new casinos in different parts of the world. So their challenge is completely different than my friend in the insurance industry who was going to cloud first. The casino business is all about a lot of security, a lot of regulation. In his case, they're buying companies, so they're buying all of this IT. They need help controlling it. They're in the casino business. They're not really in the business of IT, but IT is critical to their success. And now they're shut down, so that they're trying to figure out, how do we manage, how do we understand all the IT we have? How do we get control of it all? Can you help us with that? And then in this climate, how can you keep it running? And then now that they're starting to look to open up, they need help with all sorts of issues around how do we monitor customers coming in to our facilities, and how do we keep staff safe in terms of making sure they stay 6 feet apart. And HP has a whole wealth of new offerings in that space where we can help customers deal with opening up and getting back to work. So in terms of operating, whether you're operating an old environment, a new environment, or a post-COVID-19, trying to get through this pandemic situation, which is going to take years, there's all sorts of different aspects you need to consider as an organization. And I think the conversation last night around trying to paint your vision of what an ideal experience feels like, and then finding partners like HPE who can help deliver that, is really the way forward.
Well, great. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been exploring how digital business transformation and managing the new normal around COVID-19 pandemic issues have hugely impacted how businesses and IT operate. And we've learned now how HPE PointNeck Services has reinvented the experience of IT support to increasingly rely on automation, analytics, and agility. So please join me in thanking our guests. We've been here with Jerry Nolan, Director of Portfolio Product Management, Operational Service Portfolio at Pointnext Services. Thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you very much, Dana. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
And we've also been here with Ronaldo Pinto, Director of Portfolio Product Management, Operational Service Portfolio at Pointnext Services. Thanks to you as well, Ronaldo. And a big thank you as well to our audience for joining us for this sponsored BriefingsDirect Voice of Innovation discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of HPE-supported discussions. Thanks again for listening. Please pass this along to your IT community, and do come back next time.